Stephen Farrelly is an Irish professional wrestler. He is currently signed to the American professional wrestling promotion WWE, where he performs under the ring name Sheamus, and he is the current United States champion in his second reign. Prior to joining WWE, Farrelly was a two-time international heavyweight champion during his tenure in Irish whip wrestling. He has held the WWE Championship on 2 occasions, the World Heavyweight Championship once, and the WWE United States Championship twice, as well as winning the 2010 King of the Ring tournament and the 2012 Royal Rumble match. Early life: Farrelly was born in Cabra, Dublin, Ireland and was raised in the city. He speaks fluent Irish, having attended Scoil Camhin Primary and Cola Istmhaia Secondary School, a Gael Scoil. During his school years, he sang in the Palestrina choir until the age of 13. During this time, he appeared on The Late Late Show and Live at 3. He played Gaelic football for the Erin's Isle team where once he was declared Sports Star of the Month. He also played rugby for the National College of Ireland, where he gained a national diploma. He is a former IT technician, and also worked as security for a nightclub, which led to him to occasionally working as a bodyguard for Bono and Larry Mullen, Jr. of the band U2, as well as Denise Van Outen. Professional wrestling career, training and character development. Farrelly's inspiration into a professional wrestling career came from watching both British wrestling from ITV's World of Sport and American wrestling from the World Wrestling Federation on Sky One. On the advice of Bret Hart, Farrelly began training in Larry Sharp's Monster Factory Wrestling School in April 2002, alongside Hank Toland, Cliff Compton and Cindy Rogers. 6 weeks later he officially debuted as a fan favorite under the name Sheamus O'Shaughnessy against Robert Pidgeon. It was during this time that he developed the nickname The Irish Curse after low-blowing an opponent. He soon suffered a serious neck injury after botching a hip toss which sidetracked his career for 2 years. Farrelly soon developed his wrestling character by drawing on Celtic mythology. Wanting to move away from limiting Irish stereotypes of Lucky Charms, leprechauns and alcoholism, he instead wanted to portray an Irish warrior. Going to Gael Scoil, Farrelly grew up aware of the 4 cycles of Irish mythology and, inspired by the artwork of Jim Fitzpatrick, incorporated the sword and axe-wielding imagery into his gimmick. This included the design of his own pendant, the Crossos, which combines the Celtic cross with a Celtic war sword to illustrate his character's indigenous origins with a hybrid of warrior strength matched with a strong ethical center. Irish whip wrestling. In May 2004, still using the ring name Sheamus O'Shaughnessy, Farrelly returned to wrestling at the newly opened Irish Whip Wrestling School in Dublin. He then made his debut match for the promotion at their Mount Temple show on July 9 against Mark Burns, who he easily defeated. He went on to win a Battle Royal the following month. O'Shaughnessy spent the rest of the year engaged in a rivalry with Vid Vane after losing to his tag team partner Joey Cabret the same night as winning the Battle Royal. On 22 and 23 October they traded wins, leading to O'Shaughnessy recruiting help from CJ Summers to help defeat the tag team on October 24. Still O'Shaughnessy failed to defeat Vane in singles action the following day. Despite these losses, his impressive showings earned him a place against Alex Shane in a guest match for the Frontier Wrestling Alliance British Heavyweight Championship. Despite putting on a strong showing and being close to winning, his friend Red Vinny interfered in the match and cost him the championship. In March 2005 he avenged this loss by teaming with Raven to defeat Shane and Vinny. This victory was part of a winning streak over the end of March where O'Shaughnessy wrestled twice a day on 24, 25, 26 AA Euro including an 11-man Rumble Winner Euro, and March 27 with a standard tag match and a 10-man tag team match. This series of victories, aside from one loss by disqualification to Vane, put him good stead for the one-day tournament held in County Kildare to crown the inaugural IWW International Heavyweight Champion. On March 28, O'Shaughnessy put an end to his main rivalries when he defeated Vinny and then Vane in the quarter and semi-finals, respectively. He met Darren Burridge in the final match and won to become IWW's first champion, but had to compete again in an evening's show in Dublin, defeating Burridge and Vinny once more in a tag match alongside Vane. O'Shaughnessy's first successful title defense came against Burridge the following month, but Burridge would not let his grudge rest, continuing to attack O'Shaughnessy and finally costing him the title during a match against Low Brown on May 29. O'Shaughnessy earned revenge in July by defeating Burridge in a grudge match, though lost to him in an arm wrestling contest the following day. Still, he continued on his quest to regain the title by winning a contendership three-way match against Vinny and Red Viper in August, setting him up to regain the International Heavyweight Championship in October from Brown in Newcastle upon Tyne in England. After defending his title against Vampiro and Viper, O'Shaughnessy found himself embroiled in a new feud with rising Scottish wrestling star Drew Galloway, whom he later admitted was his toughest opponent. On January 28, 2006, he received his first championship match, evolving their rivalry from previous non-title contests. The rivalry quickly took on a patriotic flavour, with Galloway's blue colours of Scotland clashing O'Shaughnessy's green colours of Ireland, mirroring the Old Firm football derby between Glasgow Rangers and Glasgow Celtic, respectively. This football allusion became particularly prominent when the two met again at Verona Football Club once again for the title. Though the match changed into a lumberjack match, the resultant champion remained the same. With Galloway defeated, O'Shaughnessy continued to dominate by again defending his title against Vampiro on March 17. Galloway earned himself a 2 out of 3 falls match against the champion the following day, however, which O'Shaughnessy won 2 falls to 1. The next day produced the same result in a match O'Shaughnessy claimed was his best on the independent circuit. With Galloway briefly answered, O'Shaughnessy took on the newcomer Pierre Marqueux and defeated him in 2 successive title matches only to find Galloway had earned another shot. With their rivalry intensifying, Galloway's next challenge to O'Shaughnessy was given the stipulation of a last man standing match. O'Shaughnessy retained the title, as he also did in June with the same stipulation. Finally, on August 28, O'Shaughnessy lost the IWW International Heavyweight Championship in a singles match to Galloway in what would be his last appearance with the promotion. British promotions, as well as wrestling in Ireland, O'Shaughnessy occasionally travelled to Great Britain to make appearances on the British independent circuit. In April 2006 he was brought into Wales Celtic Wrestling promotion as a contender for their top title but was defeated by the champion, Chris Recall. Later that year in November, he was employed by London's LDN Wrestling to appear on their Capital TV show where, after quickly defeating William Hill, he gained an LDN Championship match against Tex Benedict, which ended with Benedict winning by disqualification and O'Shaughnessy attacking him after the match. During his time overseas he worked for Brian Dixon's All-Star Wrestling, which gave him a taste of large audiences that he had not experienced in Ireland, as well as wrestling English veteran Robbie Brookside and other British wrestling luminaries, including Nigel McGuinness and Doug Williams. He also represented the UK in a Battle of the Nations tag team match between the UK and Austria alongside Drew McDonald and the Celtic Warrior in a losing effort against Chris Robber, Michael Kovac, and Robert Ray Kreuzer at the European WRESTLNG Association's Night of Gladiators. As well as making top contender appearances based on his growing reputation, O'Shaughnessy also brought with him to Britain his long-standing rivalry with Galloway. He had already wrestled in Galloway's home promotion, British Championship Wrestling, twice in 2005, losing to Jay Phoenix on the day before Phoenix lost to Galloway in March, and returning in September to defeat one of BCW's top stars, Wolfgang, via countout. In the middle of their IWW feud the following year, O'Shaughnessy went back to Scotland to take part in BCW's Path to Glory tour, defeating Galloway on the first night but conceding a loss to him next night in May. Though their feud finished in Ireland in August 2006, it continued on across the Irish Sea when the two wrestled for the umbrella promotion Real Quality Wrestling the following year. The two first met during April's Taking on the World show, which ended in a double countout. The lack of a decision led to a rematch in June, and one of O'Shaughnessy's last on the independent circuit, where Galloway picked up the victory in a no-holds-barred match ahead of an RQW Heavyweight Championship match. World Wrestling Entertainment WWE, on November 13, 2006, O'Shaughnessy appeared on the World Wrestling Entertainment show Raw at the Manchester Evening News Arena as part of the security team ejecting D-Generation X from ringside only to later receive a pedigree from Triple H. The following day he and Galloway had a tryout match against each other. The following year in April he received another set of tryout matches in Milan and London against Galloway as well as Stu Sanders and WWE talent Jimmy Wang Yang and Monster Factory alumnus Domino. This led to an offer and signing of a developmental contract with WWE, at which point he relocated to the United States. Florida Championship Wrestling. O'Shaughnessy debuted for the WWE Developmental Territory Florida Championship Wrestling on October 2 in a double debut match with a win over Brian Kelly. While wrestling regularly, he was not part of any long feuds but did wrestle with a number of short-term tag teams alongside Haid Vanson and Jake Hager before teaming with Cafu in the tournament to crown the inaugural FCW Florida Tag Team Champions. They advanced past the first round after defeating the British Lions, but lost to Brad Allen and Nick Nemeth in the second round. By September, O'Shaughnessy had focused his attention on singles competition and wrestled his way to the top of the card, successfully defeating former partner Hager for the Florida Heavyweight Championship. He defended the title against Hager on October 23 and took on a number of competitors, with Eric Escobar and Joe Hennig consistently earning themselves into contention. Eventually, on December 11, O'Shaughnessy lost the title to Escobar in a four-way match also involving Hennig and Drew McIntyre. O'Shaughnessy spent 2009 continuing to chase gold, earning 2 shots in January and February at the Florida Tag Team Champions Johnny Curtis and Tyler Rex, but he and Ryback were unsuccessful in both attempts. In March he challenged the two for the titles once again, this time with McIntyre as his partner, but could not defeat them, nor could he defeat McIntyre for the Florida Heavyweight Championship the following month. He received a series of chances throughout the rest of the year, but could not win any more titles before being called up to WWE television, unsuccessfully challenging Justin Angel for the Florida Heavyweight Championship in November. On July 22, 2008 O'Shaughnessy worked a dark match at a SmackDown taping, losing to R-Truth. The following year in May, O'Shaughnessy began appearing at the Raw Brands house shows, and on both 8th and 9th May he defeated Jamie Noble along with another dark match victory over Noble before an episode of Raw. Debut and WWE Champion. On the 30th June 2009 episode of ECW, Farrelly made his unannounced debut as a villain under the shortened ring name of ʃeɪməs, quickly defeating a local competitor. Sheamus soon entered into a critically well-received rivalry with Goldust after defeating him on July 29. After exchanging victories in the following weeks the two appeared on the Abraham Washington Show talk segment leading to a no disqualification match on September 1 which was won by Sheamus. Sheamus then began a feud with Shelton Benjamin which was hot shot into a deciding match on October 27 which Sheamus won. His rivalry with Benjamin ended prematurely because Sheamus had already been moved to the Raw brand. He made his Raw debut by defeating Jamie Noble on October 26. In the following weeks, he continued to attack Noble causing him to retire, and, in lieu of competition, assaulted the timekeeper and commentator Jerry Lawler on November 16 at Madison Square Garden. The following week Sheamus appeared on his first WWE pay-per-view event, Survivor Series. Sheamus appeared as part of The Miz's team in a traditional 5-on-5 elimination tag team match. He eliminated fellow Irishman Finlay and made the final pinfall to eliminate the opposing captain John Morrison and survive along with The Miz and longtime former rival Drew McIntyre. The following night on Raw, Sheamus won a breakthrough battle royal for wrestlers who had never won a world championship, to become the #1 contender to John Cena's WWE Championship. At the contract signing immediately afterward, Sheamus put Cena through the table, and the Raw guest host, Jesse Ventura, announced it would be a tables match. On December 13 at TLC, Tables, Ladders and Chairs pay-per-view, Sheamus defeated Cena to win the WWE Championship, his first championship in WWE, making him the first Irish-born WWE champion. He also captured the major title in just 166 days since his WWE debut, making it the second shortest time to capture a title since his WWE ECW debut. The following night on Raw, Sheamus was awarded the 2009 Breakout Superstar of the Year Slammy Award. On January 31, 2010 at the Royal Rumble, Sheamus defeated Randy Orton by disqualification to retain the WWE Championship, following interference from Orton's teammate Cody Rhodes. On February 21, Sheamus lost the WWE Championship at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view in the Elimination Chamber match after he was eliminated by Triple H. During the match, Sheamus suffered a concussion and as a result did not attend Raw the following night. Upon his return, he took revenge on Triple H with an attack to set up a match at WrestleMania XXVI, where Sheamus lost. The following month at Extreme Rules, Sheamus attacked Triple H at the beginning of the show and later defeated him in a street fight. After a series of kicks to the head to win, he continued his assault after the match finished, resulting in Triple H being written off television for 10 months. On June 20 at Fatal 4-Way pay-per-view, Sheamus won a Fatal 4-Way match, following interference from the Nexus that allowed him to pin John Cena, thus winning the WWE Championship, and beginning his second WWE Championship reign and being named the 100th WWE Champion in history. He went on to defeat Cena a third time in a steel cage match to retain the championship on July 18 at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and against Randy Orton on August 15 at SummerSlam, which ended in disqualification, meaning that Sheamus retained his title. On September 19 at Night of Champions, Sheamus lost the WWE Championship to Randy Orton in a six-pack elimination challenge, which also included Chris Jericho, Edge, John Cena, and Wade Barrett. Sheamus received his rematch for the title on October 3 at Hell in a Cell, but was again defeated by Orton in a Hell in a Cell match. He bounced back on November 29, with wins over Kofi Kingston and John Morrison to become King of the Ring, after receiving a bye through the second round. As King Sheamus, he faced Morrison again at the TLC, Tables, Ladders and Chairs pay-per-view for a future WWE Championship match, but he lost the ladder match. Going into 2011, he continued to lose to Morrison in a mixture of singles and tag team matches. Triple H returned on February 28 and took revenge for his scripted 10-month injury by putting him through the announce table. On March 7, after losing a match against Daniel Bryan, Sheamus challenged him to a rematch with his WWE career on the line against Bryan's United States Championship. He won his match against Bryan the following week, winning his first United States title. The rematch between Sheamus and Bryan took place on April 3, during the pre-show of WrestleMania XXVII, and ended in a draw after interference from the Lumberjacks. The next night on Raw, Sheamus retained the United States Championship against Bryan in a rematch. After the match, the debuting Sin Cara saved Bryan from an attack by Sheamus. In the 2011 supplemental draft, Sheamus was drafted to the SmackDown brand. Sheamus made his SmackDown debut on the 29th April episode, attacking Kofi Kingston. Although he took the United States Championship with him, he lost it back to the Raw brand at Extreme Rules when Kingston defeated him in a tables match. Face turn, World Heavyweight Champion, and injury. On the 3rd June episode of SmackDown, Sheamus lost a World Heavyweight Championship match to Randy Orton due to biased refereeing from Christian. 2 weeks later, he lost a match to Christian, blowing his chance to compete in the World Heavyweight Championship match at WWE Capital Punishment. Afterward, he was punted by Randy Orton. Sheamus would challenge and attack Mark Henry for being a bully, which turned Sheamus face for the first time in WWE. However, he lost to him by countout at SummerSlam. After this loss, Sheamus went on a 14-match winning streak that ended after outside interference from Christian, with whom he had been feuding. During this time, Sheamus defeated Christian in 3 consecutive matches at Hell in a Cell, Vengeance, and on SmackDown. He then went on a 12-match winning streak building towards winning the 2012 Royal Rumble. He entered the match 22nd and won by last eliminating Chris Jericho to earn a main event championship match at WrestleMania XXVII. On February 19 at Elimination Chamber, Sheamus attacked World Heavyweight Champion Daniel Bryan after the latter retained his title in the Elimination Chamber match, indicating he would face Bryan at WrestleMania. On April 1 at WrestleMania XXVII, Sheamus defeated Bryan in a record 18 seconds to win his first and currently only World Heavyweight Championship. On the following episode of SmackDown, Sheamus was defeated by Alberto Del Rio in a non-title match via disqualification, thus earning Del Rio a future title match and beginning a feud between the two. On April 29 at Extreme Rules, Sheamus successfully defended the World Heavyweight Championship against Bryan in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Sheamus then returned to his rivalry with Del Rio while also starting a feud with Chris Jericho and Randy Orton. The four-way rivalry culminated in a match for the World Heavyweight Championship on May 20 at Over the Limit, where Sheamus won the match by pinning Jericho to retain the title. Del Rio earned another shot at Sheamus' title on the following episode of SmackDown, but suffered a concussion a week before their match at No Way Out and was then replaced by Dolph Ziggler. On June 17 at the pay-per-view, Sheamus defeated Ziggler to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. That same month, Sheamus made another successful title defense on the 29th June episode of SmackDown, defeating both Del Rio and Ziggler in a triple threat match. On July 15 at Money in the Bank, Sheamus defeated Del Rio again to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. On the 27th July episode of SmackDown, Del Rio defeated Daniel Bryan, Kane, and Rey Mysterio in a four-way match to again become #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. The title match, originally announced for SummerSlam, was moved to the 10th August episode of SmackDown, after Del Rio threatened to press charges against Sheamus for stealing his car on the previous episode of Raw, which would have prevented Sheamus from appearing at SummerSlam. However, before the match began, Del Rio attacked Sheamus along with men posing as police officers, which led to SmackDown general manager Booker T revoking his #1 contender status as a result. However, the following week, Sheamus had the title match put back on for SummerSlam. At the pay-per-view on August 19, Sheamus was again successful in retaining his title against Del Rio. On the 7th September episode of SmackDown, Booker T reluctantly granted Del Rio's request to ban the Bro Kick, after Sheamus knocked out his ring announcer Ricardo Rodriguez with the move on the previous Raw, with the caveat that Sheamus would be stripped of the World Heavyweight Championship if he used the move again. However, on September 16 at Night of Champions, Booker T announced that he had concluded his investigation into the dangers of the move and uplifted the ban. In the match that followed, Sheamus used the Brogue Kick to defeat Del Rio and retain the World Heavyweight Championship. On October 28 at Hell in a Cell, Sheamus lost the World Heavyweight Championship to Big Show, ending his reign at 210 days. Sheamus faced Show for the World Heavyweight title on November 18 at Survivor Series, where he defeated Show via disqualification and thus did not win the title. Afterward, Sheamus repeatedly hit Show with a steel chair. This led to a chairs match on December 16 at TLC, Tables, Ladders and Chairs, where Sheamus failed again to regain the World Heavyweight Championship. On the 24th December episode of Raw, Sheamus defeated Show in a non-title lumberjack match. Sheamus ended 2012 having wrestled the most TV PPV matches that year with 98, the most TV PPV wins with 77, and the most TV main events with 29. On January 27, 2013, at the Royal Rumble, Sheamus entered the Royal Rumble at number 11 and eliminated 5 other competitors before being the 28th man eliminated by Ryback. After being a frequent target of the Shield, Sheamus gained vengeance on the stable when he united with John Cena and Ryback to attack them. This culminated in a 6-man tag team match on February 17 at Elimination Chamber, where the Shield emerged victorious. The following night on Raw, Sheamus and Ryback teamed up with Chris Jericho to face the Shield in a rematch, but were again defeated. In late February, Sheamus aligned himself with Randy Orton to feud with the Shield. Over the next weeks, Sheamus and Orton saved each other from attacks by the Shield and Big Show. On the 15th March episode of SmackDown, Sheamus and Orton were then allowed to pick a third partner to face the Shield in a six-man tag team match at WrestleMania 29 and chose Ryback. 3 days later on Raw, however, Ryback was booked for another match at the event, leaving the spot open. Later that night, Big Show saved the two from an attack by the Shield and was immediately recruited as their partner. On April 7 at WrestleMania 29, Sheamus, Orton and Show were defeated by the Shield, after which, both men were knocked out by Show. The following night on Raw, Sheamus and Orton faced off in a match to earn a match with Big Show, however, the match ended in a no contest after Show interfered. Sheamus and Orton then teamed up to defeat Show in two handicap matches, first on April 12 episode of SmackDown via Countout, and second on April 15 episode of Raw via pinfall. Later that month, Sheamus re-entered a feud with Mark Henry after the two repeatedly attacked each other backstage. Sheamus and Henry then challenged each other in tests of strength, but with Sheamus unable to best Henry, he resorted to attacking Henry with the brogue kick. After Sheamus brogue kicked a commentary-bound Henry during a match, Henry whipped Sheamus with a belt. This led to a strap match on May 19 at Extreme Rules, where Sheamus emerged victorious. Sheamus then began feuding with Damien Sandow, when Sandow hosted a series of mental challenges on SmackDown, and Sheamus repeatedly interrupted and tried to solve the challenges. However, when Sheamus failed to solve the puzzles, he instead resorted to physical violence with the brogue kick. On June 16, during the Payback pre-show, Sheamus defeated Sandow in a singles match. The following night on Raw, Sheamus was defeated by Sandow and Cody Rhodes in a handicap match after Sandow pinned him with a roll-up. The rivalry culminated in a Dublin street fight on the 28th June episode of SmackDown, where Sheamus emerged victorious. On July 14 at Money in the Bank, Sheamus competed in the WWE Championship Money in the Bank ladder match, but was unsuccessful as the match was won by Randy Orton. During the match, Sheamus suffered a hematoma on his left thigh after being thrown into a horizontal ladder, which prevented him from competing that week. Sheamus returned to in-ring action on the 22nd July episode of Raw, losing to World Heavyweight Champion Alberto Del Rio in a non-title match. On August 7, WWE.com confirmed that Sheamus had suffered a torn labrum in his shoulder that would require surgery, and would miss up to 4 to 6 months of ring action. United States Champion, on January 26, 2014, at the Royal Rumble, Sheamus returned as a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble match at number 17, where he eliminated Big E Langston before he was later eliminated by Roman Reigns in the final 3. Sheamus seemed to be resented during the Royal Rumble from the fans, although he did an outstanding performance. The following night on Raw, Sheamus, Daniel Bryan and John Cena defeated the Shield via disqualification, following interference from the Wyatt family, to qualify for the Elimination Chamber to compete for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, but he would be eliminated by Christian. He then began a brief feud with Christian by facing him on Raw and SmackDown on multiple occasions leading up to WrestleMania, with each time Sheamus coming out on top. He was a part of the WrestleMania XXX Andra Copyright the Giant Memorial Battle Royal where he made it to the Final Four before he and Alberto Del Rio eliminated each other. On April 14, Sheamus participated in the Intercontinental Championship No. 1 Contender Tournament, which was held on Raw. He advanced to the next round by defeating Jack Swagger, before losing to Bad News Barrett in the semi-finals on April 21. On the 5th May episode of Raw, Sheamus won a 20-man battle royal to win the United States Championship for the second time in his career, last eliminating the previous champion Dean Ambrose. Sheamus then began feuding with Cesaro and his manager Paul Heyman, culminating in a match between Sheamus and Cesaro for the U.S. Championship at Payback, which Sheamus won. On June 9, Sheamus defeated Bad News Barrett to qualify for the Money in the Bank ladder match for the vacant WWE World Heavyweight Championship. The match was won by John Cena. Sheamus was in the Intercontinental Championship Battle Royal at Battleground, but lost. The match was won by The Miz. Sheamus was scheduled to take on Rusev on Tuesday's main event but was reported having the flu. Acting career, Farrelly played 2-ton in the 2008 movie The Escapist. He had a small role in the 2006 Irish film Three Crosses, and appeared as a Celtic warrior zombie in the opening sequence of the 2009 film Assault of Darkness. He appeared on several episodes of Dustin's Daily News, where he had a rivalry with Dustin the Turkey, the famous Irish sock puppet. This ended with Dustin and Farrelly having a fight, which Dustin won. Farrelly played a leprechaun wrestler on the Podge and Rod show. In wrestling, ๊ʃeɪməs, finishing moves, bro kick, running bicycle kick, sometimes as a counter to an oncoming or diving opponent, clover leaf, high cross/Celtic cross/pale justice Euro 2009 Euro 2011, white noise Euro 2012. Used as a signature move thereafter. Signature moves, beats of the Bodhrán, diving shoulder block, sometimes while slingshotting, fallaway slam, flying knee smash to a cornered opponent, front power slam, inverted face-lock backbreaker, Irish curse, rolling fireman's carry slam, running double axe handle, running knee lift, sometimes to a rope-hung opponent, running turnbuckle thrust. ๊ʃeɪməs O'Shaughnessy, finishing moves, Celtic slam, FRH Euro fiery red hand, Irish curse. Signature moves, frenzy, war sword. Nicknames, the Celtic warrior, the Great White, the Irish curse, SOS. Entrance themes, the Irish curse by Alan Doyle, written in my face performed by Sean Gennis and composed by Jim Johnston. Championships and accomplishments, Florida Championship Wrestling, FCW Florida Heavyweight Championship. Irish Whip Wrestling, IWW International Heavyweight Championship. Pro Wrestling Illustrated, PWI ranked him number 5 of the best 500 singles wrestlers in the PWI 500 in 2012. World Wrestling Entertainment WWE, World Heavyweight Championship, WWE Championship, WWE United States Championship, King of the Ring, Royal Rumble. Wrestling Observer Newsletter, Most Improved. References. External links. Sheamus's profile on WWE.com, Sheamus at the Internet Movie Database.